What's up, everybody, and welcome back to a very special edition of Tide Talk. Just a reminder, each episode is available on YouTube, and if you're watching now, please take a second to subscribe to our channel and click the like button on this video. You can also find us on your favorite podcast applications like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you listen on one of those, we'd really appreciate it if you took a minute to leave us a 5-star rating and a short review, as it helps more people find our show. So cozy up, crack a beer. Let's dive into this one. I'm your host, Matt, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend Ryan, and we have a special guest for this episode, co-founder and chairman of Rhode Island FC, Mr. Brett Johnson. Brett, I normally start with Ryan, but we'll give you the first hit here. How's
I think
everything
it's
going?
fair.
How
I think
are
it's
you?
fair today.
I don't know if I want to preempt him, but I'll just say I'm honored to be on your show. Thank you to the two of you for everything you do on behalf of RIFC and beyond. So what a pleasure
Thank you. Ryan, how are
to
you
be
doing,
with
my friend?
you guys.
Doing great. I'm very honored that Brett's here, and yeah, Brett, likewise. We're so honored that you are a steward of this club, and can't wait to get into this one.
Awesome, Brett. So let's start. Before we kind of talk about the future of this club, let's take a look at the past. What were your thoughts on year one at RIFC? What went well, and what maybe didn't go according to plan?
Almost everything went well or better than one would have ever hoped on or off the pitch. I guess starting off the pitch, I think the product at Bryant University was to Paul Burns' credit, Dan Krober, and some others. I mean, I think it was an exceptional experience and really kind of sets us up well in terms of how amazing it'll be when we enter the stadium in May. And then on the pitch, I mean, look, Kano, Parkhurst, Kano's entire sort of technical team, and the band of brothers that was part of that inaugural season. God bless them all. If anyone said with a straight face that they thought we were going to make it to the championship in our first season, I'd really like to see the recording of that. But just we're a team that as we know, they just never quit. They kept getting stronger and stronger with every game. So it was a phenomenal. So on and off the pitch, I think there are very few things that I look at, and clearly it was a validation of the investment that we made to launch the club a year before the stadium was open.
Awesome. That's really well said. What were your feelings overall on, making the final and just the playoff run as a whole?
So I've been blessed as some that know, the depth and breadth of what I've been involved with over the last decade. I've really been fortunate to be a part of a lot of phenomenal wins. I put the trophy, the Eastern Conference Cup trophy, is probably, I mean, I truly believe it might be the one that I care about the most. I have 8. I'm blessed with 8 trophies. I count the numbers over the holidays.
That's
I have
awesome.
between Phoenix, Ipswich, and Rhode Island, I have 8 trophies. And I think the Eastern Conference means the most to me. And that's amazing to think, like, that also includes getting promoted up to the Premier League. It includes a USL Championship with Phoenix Rising. But yeah, there was something just beautiful about that road win. The Louisville game beforehand, the playoff game, I flew in for that. I was actually in the Middle East, and I flew in. I can't remember how many hours I'd stayed out direct. That was an amazing game. And then all credit to Colorado in the finals. I look, would I have loved to have played them at sea level for sure, but I don't want to take anything away from their
Sure.
victory. Like they were a very, very strong side, and I don't want to take anything away from them. And I just am so proud of our players for what they did, and especially, anytime you're on the road for, was that 5 games in a row, 4 or 5 games in a row? Certainly in the playoffs, it was 4 games in a row. But so God bless them. But so it was fun. I will feast off it. But now I think we're hungry for more.
Absolutely. I think you kind of hinted at it, but if you had to peg one moment as kind of your favorite moment from year one, is it that trophy?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
without a doubt. Like,
I mean,
and I have the moment with surrounded by the players with Dan Krober and Peter Baptista. In that was a special moment. The 3 of us in particular have been working on this for 6+ years, so that was the cathartic release in terms of, like. And as I say, this is what it's all comes down to. Like, none of this stuff has been easy, trying to get this team launched, trying to get this stadium built. But it's moments like that where you're like, man, this is why we do it. This is what it's all about. So yeah, it was that moment will truly stick with me for the rest of my life.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I mean, as someone who was there to witness that in person, you could see the joy from the ownership group, the players, like every single person with an RAFC kit it was just a party atmosphere after that game, which was awesome.
It, wa-
Cool. So Brett, sticking
it
in
was
the
beautiful.
yeah, so sticking in the past, this isn't your first USL Championship venture. Previously investing in and creating the Phoenix Rising. How has the experience with Rhode Island FC been compared to your experience with Phoenix? And is there anything that you know learned from other expansion teams that you are applying to this RIFC kind of rollout and build?
I mean, all of it takes a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of incredible people to try to build something successful on and off the pitch. I'm so kind of honored and humbled with my role helping to found Phoenix Rising, and what that club has done. And for many years, it was really one of the preeminent, certainly USL clubs. And I'm taking great pride in what we're doing with Rhode Island. And in particular, what I love about what I do now is I believe strongly in the future of USL. I believe in the importance of having world-class soccer-specific stadiums. And then I believe like markets like Rhode Island deserve stadiums like this. They deserve teams like Rhode Island FC. So I'm all in. I mean, in case anyone doesn't know it, I'm all in on Rhode Island FC. I'm the principal owner. I was not the principal owner. I was the founder, but I was never the principal owner of Phoenix Rising. I've effectively, for all intents and purposes, I have very little equity in that enterprise. I basically sold all of it. I stepped off the board. I'm no longer co-chairman of it. So I'm all in on Rhode Island and very, very proud of it. But I try to take inspiration not only from, I think, some of the success that we had in Phoenix, but other clubs like Louisville. And I'm blessed with good relationships with a lot of the teams across the league, and not only in USL, but MLS and EFL, the Premier League, et cetera. So trying to take inspiration from a lot of great ownership groups. And as I like to say, none of this stuff is for the faint of heart. It's really, it takes as much money to have a bad team as it does a good team. Like the margin of difference is not that great. But I really am inspired by what Louisville's been doing. Orange County, I like the teams that are developing young players,
Yep.
finding ways to give them quality minutes and then look to sell them on. Like that's the kind of thing that over time I'd really like to see us emulate. Like I'm so proud of the roster we have, but I really hope and pray one day that, I think a Noah Fuson is, playing in England, playing in France, playing somewhere wherever he would want to go, wherever he want to be, because he and a bunch of others deserve at some point probably to go play at higher levels.
Yeah, I mean, it even seems like the recruitment this summer did kind of target a bit more of that younger age gap too. So I don't know if you think the plan is, coming to fruition earlier than you expected, but with Timu, with young players either right out of college or close to college, that 22-ish age bracket, it seems like it could be interesting for them.
Well, I mean, I can't wait till the season starts. It's almost upon us. I'm very happy that preseason's here. But I deserve zero credit for what we have on the pitch. That goes to Kano and his team, Parkhurst, et cetera. And I'd love to be the beneficiary of being associated with that kind of quality and just the caliber and the character of the team. But I really make sure that they have the say, they have the latitude. They're the ones who've got to pick the rosters. Like I think football teams go to die when an owner or ownership group think they know what they're doing when it comes to football, because they don't.
That's a very interesting quote, very good quote. Kind of diving into your ownership a little bit more. How do you and the investment group balance winning with protecting the financial viability of the investment, especially in these early years when trying to establish a fan base and generate that buzz around the stadium?
It's a partnership. I mean, we work in partnership with each other, trying to craft as good a team as possible within that budget. And I think they've done an exceptional job with it. And but just trying to be disciplined, as I say, on and off the pitch. But I'm excited about, again, the revenues of the club should hit another level. They clearly going to hit another level in our stadium. It's a
Sure.
bigger stadium, more seats, more sponsorship opportunities. Just every single metric should go up and to the right. And I think over time, if we're disciplined, we should have a pathway where the club is truly sustainable. Ideally, cash flow positive from on the club base. The stadium should be profitable, And then, as everyone knows, we're going to develop real estate around it. So, you're really trying to make this, as I like to say, as sustainable adventure as possible.
So next up, the team had an incredible year one on the pitch. What are your expectations um, of the team in year two?
They're high. I mean, it would be misleading for me to say anything other than that. But I look, I don't, I think this is the kind of team that puts all the pressure on themselves in terms of performance. They don't need to feel it from me or the extended ownership group or the fan base. This is a team that's going to want to perform because of the way that their DNA is established or set up. So I'm sure the core group of them are very, very hungry to kind of, get it done, if you will. Probably view that they have some unfinished business left. I think we took an incredible core group that we retained, and I think we've added some real talent that, so I think ideally we're going to take the overall squad to another level, which says a lot because obviously we had a hell of a team last season. So I think for all of us, we're probably getting very excited. But the reality is, look, it could be a curse when you're so successful so soon. Like, again, got to stay very, very humble. Got to recognize, like that Charleston opener, like those guys, you can only imagine how badly they want that win. And we've made some good signings. Charleston's made, New Mexico's brought in, anyway, a lot of other teams, that the arms race that keeps going on every single
Right.
season. You can't for a second rest on your laurels, and you're going to have to fight and earn 3 points week in and week out, because no one's going to give it to us.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you said it. I think one thing that's been so impressive about this club is from Coach Kano down, that locker room just seems like a group of hungry, humble guys who want to go out there and compete at the highest level, and they don't take anything for granted. So, I'm looking forward to Charleston, but I can't even imagine, like you said, how badly they want to get out there and get this started.
It was a special group of players, and look, that's what you need. You need to have a group that fights for each other, and it really seems like, again, like, I just think about some magical moments. Everyone contributed throughout the season. Everyone kind of found ways to step up, and that's what you need, especially if you're going to go deep in the postseason.
Absolutely. So, Brett, part of kind of, I think, this longer term vision here for this club came about last week with the news that the USL is targeting a D1 league in the future. And I know I can speak for Matt and I, but kind of the larger Tide Talk crew, that we were really excited about kind of your statement that you came out with after the fact. Can you expand on why you think now is the right time for the league to make this step and how it could benefit a team like Rhode Island FC?
Yeah, we've been kind of aware of the
I figured this wasn't a
possibility
complete
of
surprise.
this. Yeah, we, look, if you follow the stadium, 1,000 seats, that wasn't an accident. That was with the awareness that if we ever had aspirations to be in Division, would need that seats. So for all of the Rhode Island faithful that want to kind of know, we are very, very well positioned to flex up to 15,000, an efficient lift from both a capital and a time perspective. So that's great news. I think I like to view myself as one of the biggest advocates of promotion relegation. I think there's nothing like it in sport in terms of engaging a fan base. There's no off night. There's no, dialing it in. And I've been the beneficiary of a club with Ipswich, back-to-back promotions, kind of recognizing what it can do. So I love the idea that the USL adopts promotion relegation, creates true Division One, a Premier League, if you will. And I think for a lot of reasons, we have the nucleus to be able to do it. And so, as such, why not do it? It'd be so much. It'd be very exciting. It'd be very compelling, and it truly is a differentiated platform vis-a-vis MLS.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we, as a podcast, as a fan base, are all very excited about the thought of promotion relegation. A lot of us are fans of a lot of teams out there, like in the Premier League. So it's something that we think could just bring a lot of lifeblood to this sport. And yeah, so recently we saw you talk about this on Coach Mark Godfrey's podcast, which it's really cool to see, owners talking and meeting new owners of this ownership group. But I think it's interesting. So I heard you, and you just mentioned it there, talk about it from a really competitive standpoint, promotion relegation. But do you have to think about it differently as, the steward of the asset and the kind of financial side of promotion relegation?
Quick answer is yes. longer answer is, your rights in the USL. So it's not like if you get relegated from Premier League, USL Premier League down to USL Championship, it's not like all of a sudden like the wheels have come off your revenue model, if you will. So again, I think we have a pathway to adopt it where actually the media rights interest would increase exponentially relative to the league because of that construct. I think for better or worse, sports betting becomes a lot more of a interest when you've got promotion and relegation. The highest wagered games in football are the ones on who's going up and who's going down. And then I feel like the opportunity to truly adopt that construct. But look, it's something we have to research. We have to research what are the costs entailed to be a Division One sanction. What does it do to your wages? Like because can you take like you got to just balance like will the revenue catch up to justify that investment? And the quick answer is I don't think anyone really knows right now.
Yeah. Absolutely. And just one last question on this topic, as it is kind of one of the hotter ones out there. Has this potential move to D1, and I think you just answered this in a lot of ways with the way you've been planning the stadium and things like that. But is the team needing to adjust their strategy at all, or has this always been kind of on that longer term roadmap?
I think in the short term, there's no real impact with the announcement other than, we'll start to look as an ownership group at some point what the cost would entail to go to 15,000 seats, what the timing might be to do that. And then again, what the other requisite investments.
Kind of switching gears a little bit and looking at year 2 and beyond. You've mentioned before eventually bringing a women's team to Tidewater. Is there any rough time frame on that and that potentially happening?
Yeah, I've publicly said countless times my commitment to bringing a women's team. As again, almost all of your listeners are likely aware, USL has now their Division One sanctioned Super League. So I'm committed to it. We effectively own the rights to a USL Super League team in Rhode Island. Candidly, I'd like to find, as I say, the face of the women's team shouldn't be a 55-year-old white guy, meaning me. Like I'd like to find a woman or women who really want to step up, want to put their money behind it, and really want to take ownership of it, literally and figuratively. So so I'm trying to construct a partnership with the right female-led ownership group. And look, you've seen what Angel City has done, and there's a host of what I'll call sort of dynamic, deep-pocketed, committed women. And increasingly, I really like the thought of being so. In short, we're working on and we're negotiating with different prospective partners. What we have is a superpower in that we have truly what will be one of the greatest stadiums for a women's team in the world.
That's awesome.
And
That's
obviously,
exciting.
of course, of course, one of the greatest markets. As I always say, like I covet and cherish Rhode Island.
That's awesome. And then just to kind of, put a pin in this before we get some kind of funner questions on the way out. You mentioned previously you've been involved with this project for so long now, with such a long lead up time to the opening of Tidewater. Is there a specific moment that you're particularly excited for or looking forward to the most?
Yeah, the stadium opener, May 3rd. Very excited about it. My family will be coming back for that. They've for 6-7 years now, they've seen me, the amount of travel from Los Angeles to try to make this project a reality. A lot of times where I've been away from home. I mean, there was a time where I was every 2 weeks every 2 weeks, twice a month, I was in Rhode Island. So I think that's going to be very satisfying for them to see, what we as a family have been working toward for so long. And so many stakeholders that have been a part of it, the governor, the mayor, city council, my partner, Dan Krober, who, I like to say he deserves a disproportionate amount of credit. I'll take credit for the vision. Dan deserves the credit for the execution and how he's kept his sanity and how he's been able to so I'm blessed with so many incredible people in my life, but it's individuals like that I'm really excited to see this stadium finally come to fruition. And no one's going to give us a medal. We're not looking for a medal, but the reality is none of this was easy, but we stuck with it. and we're about to open it. And collectively, everyone involved with it deserves a lot of credit for it, because literally every week I see, there was just this past week another major project in Rhode Island that's gone by the wayside, that's not going to move forward. And if I ever care to, I could probably research over the last 6 or 7 years how many projects of note were announced that didn't get done, aren't going to get done, aren't moving forward. And so, with total humility, I'm very proud of that we are moving forward. We got this done, and it's changing lives, and it's creating social and economic impact, and creating a source of pride for those in and out of the state that really care about what we're doing. So again, so yeah, the stadium opener will be a good one for me.
That's awesome. Very
Yeah,
well said.
we might want to use your guys' expertise on a certain bridge situation, but we'll get to that another time.
I didn't even, I forgot about that one. That's another.
Awesome, Brett. So before we let you go, we do have a quick rapid fire round that we love to do. So first one here, did the team consider a 20-year contract for Noah Fuson when he signed his extension?
Yeah, I think I would have gone for that.
I would have too, as everyone knows.
Love Noah, but again, it's like my children. I love them all. I mean, I really do. Like, I can't. So yes, but we're blessed with Noah, and I've loved to see the breakout season he had, and I can't wait to see what he does, and others, this coming season.
Any favorite restaurants or favorite food in particular to eat while you're in Rhode Island?
So Al Forno, which has been there forever. Al Forno was there when I was at Brown University. Yep. So that's like yeah, I almost always pay the Al Forno toll. I do because I usually stay at that Aloft. I go to Plant City a fair bit, which again is it's so funny because I can really enjoy a good vegetarian or vegan meal, but it's funny when you bring some people where it's like like Peter Baptista, like trying to have a cup of coffee there, and it'd be like he just wants milk, and they're like, we don't have milk. He's like, what? It's always anyway. So that's another good spot, if you will.
That's a good one.
Awesome. So we know you're a longtime fan of the sport. Is there a certain type of player you are particularly drawn to, like a creative magician, a physical defensive midfielder, a prolific striker?
I mean, I loved like Andrea Pirlo, the Italian player. I loved watching him play. As far as players that I've been blessed with, or I guess I'll just be specific to Rhode Island. Like I have so much pride seeing the way these young men compete, both and also their character. And it's really important that they have good character. And I'm looking for whatever time that we or have the blessing of being partners with each other, that they grow and go on to do incredible things. But look, I love. I mean, I almost hate singling anyone out, because again, like they're all incredibly special. I mean, I remember Grant Stoneman making an incredible play. It was either Louisville or Charleston, where diving like stops the, which almost certainly was a goal, which would have changed the trajectory of that game. Like, again, it's moments like that where, like, there's always the incredible, like seeing like JJ, some of the goals he scored, Noah, they're magical moments. But look, I love to see the way Quizera comes bombing up the pitch. I love Clay Holstead. I love, Koke and his leadership, and Nodarse, like, again, yeah, like so many. It was great to see the way they all grew, and how all of them could do something that can hurt you, or something critical to kind of keep us in a game. And so they all deserve credit, in some special way. But usually when I played sport, my very, very modest career, I wasn't the guy scoring goals. So I always appreciated like the unsung hero that made that right pass. Like, actually, Noah Fuson, a couple times last season, he made inch perfect passes where it's like you could easily miss the fact that, like, how good it was. Like, he didn't score the goal, but it was like, man, I recall two goals in particular, the Monterey game, and then there was another one he had where literally it was like it was a thing of beauty, where you're like, man, thank God the guy scored on both occasions, because if not, they would have really let Noah down.
I've watched that Monterey goal like 100 times, I think. But
it was incredible. That's where you really started to say, like, man, we got someone special here.
That's awesome. I think I know what it might be, but 2025 match you're most looking forward to?
I mean, I guess the San Antonio at home to open up the stadium. Anytime we play, a Charleston, a Louisville, a Detroit, those are all special. wouldn't mind seeing these guys go to Phoenix and get the W there. That would I might actually have to figure out how to fly over for that game.
The Brett
But
Darby.
yeah, there we go. Actually, I'm looking forward to playing Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed with what Gabe and that group's doing, and I think like our fan bases are gonna really. And I hope the rivalry with Westchester and then Hartford, of course. I probably would be remiss if I didn't mention how enjoyable that rivalry.
We forget about them all the time. We get it.
Okay, good. You won't get me in trouble. But no, there's a lot of special rivalries, if you will, and it's again a credit to the quality of ownership across the league.
Absolutely, Brett. And a final one here. Is there an artist you'd love to see perform at Tidewater?
Probably Dave Matthews would be a good one.
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
Love that.
I'd like to make that happen. If I have anything to say with it. So maybe going back a long way, maybe Pearl Jam. But
Yeah.
but yeah, quick
That's been my
answer would be-
favorite answer.
Okay, all right, I love it.
I've been to like 30 Dave Matthews shows, so I love it. Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah, no. So I think that's one we probably try to figure out how to make that work at some point.
Awesome. But want to thank you again for taking the time out to join us. We really appreciate you spending some time with us, answering some questions, just having a good old conversation. Anything else you want to kind of get off?
No, I
want
to thank you guys. I want to thank everyone who helps to make the club what it is. And look, what I probably should have said is what really was magical about the first season was the way Rhode Island got behind this club, and that's just beautiful. And I feel like we've got such a bright future, but we want to earn the respect and loyalty every single day. That's what we work toward. And the reality is this is Rhode Island's team. So what you guys are doing and what countless others are doing, I'm just truly humbled by and just grateful and appreciative. And I look forward to seeing you guys and everyone else, the family, if you will, May 3rd. And we've got some exciting announcements coming up. And anyway, so future's bright, but it's because of all the hard work that everyone puts into it and the love and support. So to you guys, thank you. To your listeners and to everyone in the community, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett.
Awesome.
Thanks for
Brett.
everyone for listening and tuning in. Remember, you can find us on all your favorite social media channels, everywhere you get your podcasts, and on YouTube. I've been your host, Matt, for Brett Johnson joining us, and my co-host, Ryan. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time. And as always, up the tide.
Up the tide.
Thanks, guys.